What's going on everyone, SuperaTom here, and Kazuha's banner is just right around the corner. I am sure that many of you have tons of Primo Gems saved up ready to grab Kazuha home, unless you don't. But either way, if you're pulling for Kazuha, I am sending you all of my luck that you will be getting him early. Now, for those of you who already have Kazuha, I have seen that many of you are actually considering to take your Kazuha to the next level by either going for a C2 Kazuha or his weapon, the Freedom Sword, which is why we have today's video on discussing which should you go for, a C2 Kazuha or the Freedom Sword, to help you make the best decision for your account. Now guys, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, as I usually make guide video especially for free-to-play players, so if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe to not miss out in my future videos. And with that, let's just jump into the video. First, we'll look into Kazuha C2. Now what it does is that it increases Kazuha's EM himself by 200 after using his burst for the entirety of its duration, plus another 200 EM for any of the character that is within his burst field. So we all want Kazuha because of his insane support capability. What he shined best at is his rare ability to provide really good elemental damage for your character based on a 0.04% of his total elemental mastery, in which generally a full EM Kazuha build should get you around at least 800 EM, which is 32% elemental damage bonus, and that is a lot, something that almost no other character in the game can do at this point. Now another extra 200 EM onto Kazuha after his burst, meaning that it is an additional 8%. So generally you'll be getting around 40% on full support builds, or in some cases even up to 50% if you're really lucky with your substats, elemental mastery on your artifacts. Even if you don't go for support build and want to have a DPS Kazuha build, he'll still be able to provide decent support, giving your team at least around 15% elemental damage with ease. On top of that, Kazuha still gets a 200 EM boost nonetheless, meaning that he deals a lot more reaction damage, and with his team getting 200 EM within his burst, that is a pretty huge boost, especially on a reaction team. So of course C2 Kazuha is really good, one of the better constellations there is in the game. However, there is a few things to consider of course. As always, getting character constellation can potentially cost a lot, especially when we're considering a C2 Kazuha here. If you haven't got Kazuha on your account right now, then of course that's going to be a 3 Kazuha pool with a 50% chance of getting 3 5-star loss as well, which can go up to a fortune of over 86,000 Primo Gems if you do lose all of the 50-50, and the emotional damage caused is you hating yourself for ever pressing the wish button. Emotional, damn it! However, that's just the worst case. I'm sure many of you will be able to get him much less if you do decide to go for C2 Kazuha. Now what's more important though is that unlike many other characters that get a total new boost when you unlock Constellation, C2 Kazuha is good. However, that doesn't deny the fact that C0 Kazuha is already a perfect character, because he can do everything that C2 Kazuha do, just a slight lower damage increase. From my experience, if you're trying to get C2 Kazuha to beat the game, then it's more about you lacking a build investment into your character, because C0 Kazuha just gives you everything already. In terms of providing EM, Sucrose is usually on par, and in some cases even better than Kazuha. And she also gives your character a 20% elemental damage bonus at C6, which is something you will be able to unlock as you play the game. That's going to be a much lesser investment you have to do than going for C2 Kazuha. That's for Kazuha's constellation. Now what about our beautiful looking sword, the Freedom Sword? I do have to admit that this sword looks real pretty. Now if we were to be looking at only how much EM this sword gives, which is 198 EM, compare that with the Iron Sting, which gives you 165 for a free-to-play 4-star weapon, it would be a total win for the Iron Sting. However, the Freedom Sword is one of the best support weapon when it comes to passive effect, which is why it deserves the spot of consideration for many of us. So what it does is that it first basically gives the wielder a 10% damage increase. On top of that, every time elemental damage reaction is triggered, you get a sigil, and once you gain 2 sigil, it will be converted to all of your party member getting a 16% normal charge plunging damage increase plus an additional 20% total damage increase, which is a pretty good number. So we've seen that the Freedom Sworn is no doubt a very good weapon in terms of support capability, and of course we all want to have it on our account. The only thing that stops us most of the time is how much we have to spend on it. Now usually weapons tends to be a good option to invest into your account if you do have the ability to afford it, because it can be used on any character of the same class, giving it a lifelong ability on the account. On top of that, there's currently no signs of the so-called power creep on 5-star weapon, so you won't have to worry about that further down the line. This weapon investment goes to waste. Now if we were to look at either a C2 Kazuha or the Freedom Sworn, I would say the boost that it gives to Kazuha would almost be the same, with C2 Kazuha providing a slightly better overall support, as giving 200 EM to the team is a pretty good amount. So which one should you go for if you do decide to invest in either of the two? That will also come down to your team build and character you have in your account right now. Remember that C2 Kazuha will mostly focus on reaction damage team, meaning teams that you're running with Vaporize, Melt, and so on, while the Freedom Sworn will benefit any team with the ability to be used by other character, not just on Kazuha, meaning that Freedom Sworn will benefit teams such as Freeze, Ayaka, who don't use reaction damage a lot. So the Freedom Sworn will be a lot better in this situation, and that is something you have to consider. As for me, if I were to choose myself, I would just go for the Freedom Sworn over the C2 Kazuha, because as we've discussed, it is universal, potentially outlasting Kazuha C2 in the future when more characters comes out. Who knows, right? But that's just on me and my decision. You will have to make the decision yourself to see if it really is worth it to go for either of this choice, because both investment will cost you a lot of primo gems, which you can just save for other amazing Dendro character to come in Sumeru right in the patch after Kazuha. I hope that the video have been able to help you come to a decision. Now let me know down in the comment section if you do have any questions. If you're interested in Kazuha and Sumeru discussion, then I am sure that you would love to see a discussion on how Kazuha is potentially getting a slight nerf once Sumeru comes. I am sure it will be a very fun one for you. Again guys, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe as to not miss out on my future videos. And with that, I wish you a super day, and I will catch you on the next video.